Hello students, today we shall discuss on the topic Common Integrated Farming System of Upland India Management. Introduction. Integrated farming system is a resource management strategy to achieve economic and sustained agricultural production to meet diverse requirements of farm livelihood while preserving resource base and maintaining a high level of environment quality. Thus, in farming system approach, major emphasis is given to develop broad-based package of technology for optimization of resources on farm to attain higher agricultural production and economic returns on sustainable basis without impairing the quality of environment. It is clear that a farming system is the integration of crop, livestock, aquaculture, agroforestry, agri-horticulture, etc. for efficient use of farm resources to augment farm income and sustainability in production. The northeastern hill regions of India are unique in their physiographic characteristic of land, varied agroclimatic conditions, land tenure system, and cultivation practices from the rest of the country. The region falls under high rainfall zone and is characterized by hilly terrain with wide variation in elevation from 100 meter to 5,500 meter. Majority of the farmers in the region are maintaining dairy cattle, and the major source of green fodder comes from lopping of the fodder trees and locally available grasses. Agroforestry systems are inherently more resilient to weather extremes than many traditional cropping systems. Agroforestry practices utilize perennial vegetation and multiple species that provide greater plant diversity with less vulnerability to climate stress than is provided by monocultures. Agroforestry require low external inputs, have a high recycling rate, and good integration of trees, crops, and animals, making them a good candidate for achieving both sustainable livelihood and climate change objective. Agroforestry offers a better livelihood strategy to farmers due to relatively low input, flexible labor requirement, high profitability, diversity of income sources, and more bargaining power at the marketing stage than annual crops. Incorporating trees into farming system leads to greater prosperity at the farm level. Trees provide farmers with marketable products such as lumber, building poles, firewood, animal fodder, fruits, and medicine, all of which earn extra income. Agroforestry also play a significant role in mitigating the atmospheric accumulation of greenhouse gases and help smallholder farmers to adapt to climate change. Some of the agroforestry systems followed in eastern region are agri-horticulture, silvipastoral, agri-silviculture, silvi-horticulture, pastoral silviculture, and home gardens. Types of integrated farming system in upland and its management. Based on structure, that is, the composition and dimension of crop, it can be classified as number 1, agri-silviculture, number 2, silvi-pastoral system, number 3, agri-silvi-pastoral system, number 4, multi-purpose forestry production system. Based on the dominance of components, we can again classify as number 1, silvi-agriculture, that is shifting cultivation. Number 2, agri-silviculture, that is hedge cropping or alley cropping. Number 3, silvi-pastoral system, that is where overgrazing is not allowed. And number 4, pastoral silviculture, where overgrazing of forests is not allowed. Number 5, agro-silviculture pastoral system. Number 6, silvi-agri-pastoral system. Number 7, agro-horti-silvicultural system. And based on temporal arrangement of components, we can again classify as number 1, coincident, that is, together most part of life. Number 2, concomitant, that is, together for some part of life. Number 3, intermittent, that is, space dominated. Number 4, interpolated, that is, both space and time dominated. And based on allied components, it can be classified as number 1, agroforestry cum sericulture. Number 2, agroforestry cum agriculture. Number 3, agroforestry cum pisciculture. Number 4, agroforestry cum lake culture. Number 5, agroforestry cum dairying. Agri-horticultural system. Agri-horticultural system plays an important role in rain-fed areas where production of annual crops is not only inefficient but also highly unstable. Fruit trees, if suitably integrated in rain-fed farming system, could add significantly to overall agricultural production, including food, fuel and fodder, conservation of soil and water, and stability in production and income. Thus, horticulture as a component of hill agriculture assumes high importance. Fruits of hill region, being deep-rooted and hardy, can better tolerate climate aberrations than short-duration seasonal crops cannot tolerate. Hence, in drought season where annual crops usually fail or their production is highly depressed, fruit tree species yield considerable food, feed and fuel and greatly obviate the suffering from general shortages. Farmers mainly grow paddy and maize with vegetable and fruit crop like banana, passion fruits, pineapple, mandarin, etc. Agri-silvicultural system. Agri-silvicultural systems involve intercropping with trees and shelter belts. Agricultural crops are normally grown between rows of trees planted at spacing of 5 meter to 30 meter. The agricultural crops provide seasonal revenue, while trees are managed at 8 to 10 years rotation, giving extra returns of timber, fuel wood, and fodder. The agricultural crops provide seasonal revenue, while trees are managed at 8 to 10 years rotation, giving extra returns of timber, fuel wood, and fodder. Several kinds of crops are also planted under trees. Alley cropping is another form of this system sometimes used in the semi-arid regions. In this method, fast-growing leguminous trees such as Lychina leucocephala are planted in rows at 0.5 meter by 2 meter spacing to eliminate the weed species. During the arable cropping season, trees are lopped to about 0.5 meter height. Lopping is then spread onto the alleyways as a mulch to reduce moisture loss and improve the nutrient status of the soil. Popular among the crop planted in the alleyways are maize, legume, and cassava. Alley cropping is also a form of conservation farming which enhances fertility and prevents erosion. Silvipastoral system. Silvipastoral system essentially consists of top-feed tree species carrying grasses or legumes, preferably perennial, as understory crops. This system is suited to marginal lands and is most preferable where the fodder shortages are experienced frequently. Further, there is the widespread recognition that to increase fodder supply in rural areas, effective interaction between animal husbandry, raising livestock in plantation crops, crop production and forestry is needed. It is critical that grazing and fodder resources be created in areas accessible to the villagers. One effective method would be the introduction of agri-silvi-pastoral land use patterns, such as the growing of, number 1, fast-growing fodder shrubs and trees in croplands and pastures. Number 2, pastures under plantation crops. And number 3, pastures in forestry tree plantation. Agri-pastoral system. In northeastern hilly areas, livestock production is an integral part of farming with a view of income, nutrition, and recycling of wastes. Adequate production of fodder crops and pastures is fundamental to the increased and sustained production of livestock. However, the production of forages would have to be in harmony with the production of staple food crops. Thus, cropping patterns under rain-fed condition often include maize or grass legume pastures seeded in rotation with grain crops. If the ley is based on legumes, it rapidly builds up soil nitrogen and improves soil organic matter, soil structure, and water infiltration. The system, being low cost, is particularly suited to resource-poor farmers whose risk-taking capacity for investing in costly mineral fertilizer is low. Hortipastoral system. It involves integration of fruit trees with pasture. In the degraded arid and semi-arid rangeland regimes, number of overgrazed plants of Gygifus namularis are found, which could be successfully budded with improved variety of bear, namely Gola, Sef, Umran, Banaras, Kaska, besides planting multi-purpose trees like Anjan, Subabul, Khezri, along grasses and legumes like Sanchrus, Lacerius, Chrysopogon, etc. Agri-silbi pasture system. It is a combination of agri-silviculture and silbi-pastoral system. In arid degraded lanes of Rajasthan, Gujarat, and Haryana, often dry land crop, namely bajra, mothbean, till, etc., are grown in strip along with grass strips to avoid shifting of sand, enriching the crop area. Multipurpose trees could be introduced both in the pasture strips as well as in the crop strips, which besides protecting crops from desiccating hot and cold wind would also provide leaf fodder, timber, etc., besides pasture when there is the crop failure. Woody plants could be Acacia senegal, bear, anjan, neem, etc. Grasses like Sanchrus, Lacerius, and legume like Stylospaces. Agri-horti-silbi-pastoral system. In the fragile ecosystem of northeastern region, agri-horti-silbi-pastoral land use system is acting as a boon for farmers. This system gives regular income with minimum risk. This system ensures better utilization of existing resources and sustainable income generation source. Under this land use system, farmers accommodate all types of crops which give diversified produce. In a piece of land, farmers can grow the following crops. Agricultural crops like rice, maize, pigeon pea, cowpea, beans, etc. And horticultural crops like brinjal, okra, colocasia, banana, mandarin, pineapple, passion fruits, chili, guava, papaya, etc. Sylvie, teak, tung, ficus, etc. Pastoral, Congo signal, setaria, Guinea grass, hybrid napier, etc. These crops provide food, fuel, and fodder to the farmers and ensure better socio-economic conditions of farmers. Multi-story cropping system. A compatible companion of crops having varying morphological frames and rooting habits grown together in such a manner that their canopy intercept solar energy at varying height and their roots spreads in the soil at different zones or depth. A compatible companion of crops having varying morphological frames and root habits grown together in such a manner that their canopy intercept solar energy at varying height and their root spreads in the soil at different zones and depth. Tropical horticultural crops like areca nut, coconut, and rubber are grown for about 30 to 50 years in a particular slopy land. Trees take nearly 4 to 7 years to reach bearing or maturity stage. Adequate alley spacing, that is 75%, is available between trees. The root systems are also not spread beyond 2 meters. Hence, these vacant spaces can suitably be used for raising other crops. The topography of different area permits farmers for multi-story cropping in slope because it utilizes the land perfectly and they get different produce from a piece of land. Generally, after zooming, farmers take annual crop and in the next year, these lands are converted into orchards. They incorporate several crops by considering plant height and canopy. There are a set of crops which are being practiced by the farmers. Multi-story cropping system. Table 1. Multi-story cropping system. In the first story, we can go for areca nut, second story, mandarin, third story, banana, fourth story, papaya, fifth story, pineapple. In the second scheme, in the first story, areca nut, second story, hatkora, third story, banana, fourth story, papaya, fifth story, pineapple. In the third scheme, first story, areca nut, second story, black pepper, third story, mandarin, fourth story, lemon, fifth story, pineapple. In the fourth scheme, first story, areca nut, second story, vanilla, third story, banana, fourth story, papaya, fifth story, pineapple. In the fifth scheme, first story, rubber, second story, vanilla, third story, mandarin, fourth story, coffee, and fifth story, pineapple. Conclusion. Farming system represents the integration of farm enterprises such as cropping system, horticulture, animal husbandry, fishery, agroforestry, apiary, etc. for optimal utilization of farm resources, bringing prosperity to the farmers. A judicious mix of cropping systems with associated enterprises like fruits, vegetables, flowers, dairy, poultry, duckery, piggery, fishery, sericulture, etc., suited to the given agroclimatic conditions and socio-economic status of the farmers, shall be able to generate additional employment and income for the small and marginal farmers, both under upland and irrigated conditions. Agroforestry system readily bundles both mitigation and adaptation strategies and provide several pathways to achieve food security for poor farmers while contributing to climate change mitigation. Agroforestry system readily bundles both mitigation and adaptation strategies and provide several pathways to achieve food security for poor farmers while contributing to climate change mitigation. Agroforestry also provides multiple additional ecosystem services, including enhancing wildlife habitat, improving local microclimate, and expanding renewable energy sources. Agroforestry should attract more attention in global agendas on mitigation because of its positive social and environmental benefits. Thank you.